burn my own self. Jesus. Come on. Okay, I'm coming from Jesus calling. Enjoying peace in his presence. Jesus help me. And it's saying Jesus calling. First experience the presence of God is a setting of exquisite beauty. I was studying at the Christian community in a tiny alpine village in France. Reading the book now, this is not me. This was a branch of, I have no idea, an international ministry that began in Switzerland through Francis and Edith Schaeffer worked. During my stay, I often explored the fairyland-like environment all around me. It was like a winter, and the noonday sun was warm enough for sunbathing, but the depth of the snow kept it from melting. Brilliant sunlight reflecting from pure white snow and cleansing my mind of the darkness that had held it captivity for years. Okay, now that's the introduction of Jesus' calling. Okay, now I guess we'll talk about me. Had an issue years ago, whereas I was upset, extremely upset, angry at my breaking point. That was 1997, and now it's happening again. The situation here has to involve with the apartment, with the neighbors, with the children, with the parents getting along. It's a lot of stuff going on. Well, I have come to the conclusion I have reached my breaking point, but we will not argue, we will not fuss. We're not gonna break things, we're not gonna do that. We're not going to hospital diagnosed with any kind of disease or mental capacity or anything like that. That's not going to happen. What we're gonna do is we're going to pray. We're going to breathe slowly, and we're gonna start from there. Because this time it's like everyone is involved, including myself as well as my children. Now, those of all who know me, you know who I am. I love my children dearly, even those that I have adopted. Right now, I think it's 10 boys right now and 4 girls, but I love them all. The parents and me have an understanding when they're at my house, they have certain rules and regulations as well as when my kids are at their house. Now, we really don't have too much of problems. I don't have many much issues, but lately it's been like a boiling point. Like it's just slowly, slowly simmering to where it's just got into an eruption. But we're going to let it stay. We're going to pray about it this time. We're not going to destroy things or break things, but there is possible that when you get to your breaking point, sometimes you can't do anything but prayer. So in my case, I have started listening to music, a lot of music that I don't really agree with, but I listen to it because I want to know what my kids are listening to. So like I told them, okay, well, since Paul, you like this other secular music, then why not listen to Grits? So listen to Keith, can't think of his name right now. Is the man name Smile? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, work with me. Listen to stuff like that. Now, years ago, they started listening to Grits, which Grits is a gospel rap group, whatever. They really didn't go that far, of course, because people don't like to hear that. They rather hear murder and all of that. But to come to the realization that we have this gang violence that's going on, and I have never really been involved in a gang violence per se myself, but I do know about it. And as far as my kids go, as far as they tell me they have never pledged a grain. I try to keep them out of the gang. I try to do football, basketball, sports. I'm trying to get some baseball, whatever it takes to occupy your mind. You won't get into this, but I'm not crazy. You have that thing where you have to open up your eyes and realize there are those of us who do have gang members in our family. And of course, there are those that once they say you have a gang member in your family, that gang member will also be in your family no matter what. Now, in my case, I do have gang affiliation in my case, but I choose to pray about it instead of pointing out that particular gang. What I would prefer to do is to get together and love each other and not concentrate on who is who and who is what and all of this. Because in the last days, there is no one else but Jesus. And he doesn't signify us as far as gang members. He doesn't signify us as birthdays. He doesn't signify us. These are things that identify us because that's how he created us. But it doesn't say that he singled us out because we are this, and this. Because in the end, it's all about him. So I found out a lot of stuff and talking to the elders, and I found out a lot of stuff, and my kids found out a lot of stuff. Well, since that has happened, there's been three almost fights and one fight. And it's really bothering me because I'm like, I tell my children, especially my boys, because they do have this thing whereas they get angry about certain things. Of course, kids are kids, and they get angry and they get accelerated and they get to where they just want to just take it. I tell them, call me, text me, whatever you have your family contacts, call. You call your godmother, your godfather. It doesn't matter, who they are. Call them, send them a message, ask them to pray. You know who your pastors are. Send them a message, ask them to pray. We've been members of Greater Faith World Outreach Ministry now for a long time, since my oldest one was 4 years old. Now we haven't been able to actually attend the ministry because we actually moved to Columbia, but still support that ministry. And he's taught us a lot. And I tell them all you got to do is, but just you got to reach out. But they like to tell me, Mom, don't have the time. Yes, you do. You have a time between pulling out a weapon, pulling out your fist, hurting each other. You do have time. You have time to breathe. You have time to pray. You have time to slow down. Now, I try to instill this in them, but of course, you all might not know my boys are who they are, and they are their parents' children. Now, those of all who do not know, me and Paxton have come to an agreement. We will come together, we will take care of our children. We will make sure that none of this does not happen to them whereas this happened in the past. Now, we have also got accustomed to now we have boys and girls who are actually involved with our children, who actually needs to be involved with the grown-ups. Now, those of all who know what happened, we don't have to recash it. We already know. That will never happen again. Period. But we have stuff that's going on now that's a lot worse than that. We have it whereas we got domestic violence between children. And I can only use mine for an example. My oldest one, they, we're going to do what we do. We're going to pray about that. And then my middle child, yeah, and they pass words and I'd be like, please, you can't do with this. Then my baby, they just pass words. It's like it's a built up of anger. And I tell them, I need y'all to stop arguing, play fighting or whatever, because that ends up to be dangerous. One thing I would tell the girls is keep your hands to yourself. Do not push evil triplets because I declare they'll go to a point where there is no return. Whereas I tell them to walk away. Jesus, just walk away. I've had injured hands. I've had injured mailboxes. I've had anger of holes being punched to keep from punching the person. We have to pray. We have to pray. I'm from domestic violence. I see my mother get her whipped, and angry. And it made me so angry that I didn't get to know my father's side. I didn't even try. I didn't. Because when it came to Linda, it wasn't no conversation. And Henry knew that. And I got to the point where I tried to be the child in between both of them, but that did not work. It actually hurt me, more or less helped me, which made me very, 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 very angry. Even now, the situations where, when it comes to Paxton Senior, who, we are still, whatever you want to call it, team up or whatever it is for our kids, we do what we got to do. And there are times that I have to realize that Paxton is Paxton and Paxton is going to be Paxton, as well as he needs to realize that Creon is Creon and I'm going to be me. But me being the one to always go ahead and do what I had to do, I had to learn how to be humble. Thanks to Walima Granger, thanks to Janora, thanks to Rose, thanks to Vestina, thanks to Pastor Tony McAfee, I'm learning how to be humble. Humble is not necessarily my strong suit at one point, but it's getting better. Versus where I don't try to be argumentative. I just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to sit down someplace. We're going to pray about this before we have an earthquake because it's not good. So A lot of times my kids say, Mom, you're not saying anything. Yeah, it's best that I don't say nothing because it's best that I do shut up. And sometimes you have to hush and you have to pray and you don't have to talk. So I'm learning how to untalk. Just don't say nothing. Just shake my head and say, okay, to God be the glory. Now, the kids are doing well in school and all praises to God. Kendra will be going to college with a full scholarship. Only thing he has to pay is 105. God be the glory, okay? Now that's awesome. And he's going to Erskine in North Carolina. We'll post that. It's great. His girlfriend is working on getting her degree as well, so we can go and get this done, right? No grandbabies, none of that. Don't be alarmed, it's none of that. There's none of that sexual healing going on for any grandbaby to be produced. We're gonna leave it at that. So, all thing I can say is be encouraged, pray, pray, pray. Whether or not it is you get your pastor's book or you download any Bible or you download any pastor that's your favorite. Personally, mine, I like Joyce Myers and I like T.D. Jakes and, of course, Pastor Tony McAveen. And First Lady, she's not really wanting to go to the pulpit, but okay, we all wishing and we hoping. So be blessed and always remember there is nothing too hard for God.